Namastasya Namastasya Namo As we have been discussing since past 2 days about the glories of the Lord's devotees, how the Lord is subjugated voluntarily by the divine love, possessed by his devotees, and we saw the example of Amrish. Then yesterday we discussed how Lord in his form as Vamanadev, he did not feel shy to turn into beggar, seeking alms at the royal doorstep of Raja Bali. This is also the effect of pure devotion. Bhakti ka pratap hai yaha. And today we will be contemplating on the precedent taken from Srimad Bhagawad MAHAPURANA, wherein the Lord, who is himself the embodiment of truth, who is the very personification of supreme truth, जो परम सत्यात्मक है, परम सत्य साक्षात है, परम सत्य की मूर्ति है, परम सत्य स्वरूप है, और जिनका हर संकल्प, जिनकी हर वाणी सत्य स्वरूप है. God, his every action, his every thought, his every statement is truth. It turns into truth. It turns into reality. Therefore, our Upanishads, the Vedanta philosophy, the philosophical part of Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma, it designates the absolute reality by one specific term, and that is Satya Sankalpa, Satya Kam. In the Upanishads, the Supreme God is described as Satya Sankalpa, Satya Kam, which means his every desire, his every thought turns into reality. His every thought and desire is truth personified. So, if such is the case, then Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is himself the Supreme Godhead, Parabrahma Paramatma, when he is taking promise, when he is taking pledge in the very beginning of Mahabharata war, that I will not take up any weapon in this Mahabharata war, I will not fight directly, I will not take up any weapon. This is his pratigya, this is his promise, and it is taken in front of both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. But the Lord breached his promise in order to protect the oath taken by his pure devotee Bhishma Pitamaha. This is the third example, that the Lord, who is Satya Kama, Satya Sankalpa, all his desires, all his promises, all his spoken words, they never get into untruth. They are always truth. That God, whose all actions and deeds and speech are always truthful, he turns his promise into a lie, just to protect his devotee's promise. So the promise taken up by his devotee Bhishma Pitamaha was that I will compel Shri Krishna to take up a weapon in this Mahabharata war and fight against the Kauravas or against me. And the same thing happened when the war started. One day, because Bhishma Pitamaha, he has stayed on the battlefield for 10 days. The total time duration of Mahabharata war encompasses 18 days, and among those 18 days, the first 10 days were fought under the leadership, under the captainship of Bhishma Pitamaha. And one of those 10 days, it so happened that Bhishma Pitamaha, he has vowed to kill Arjun, and because he knows that if I will he doesn't want to kill Arjun, but he knows that I will injure Arjun in such a way that Shri Krishna will have to interfere, he will have to take up weapon in his hands, and he will have to break his promise. So fatal injuries have been provided by Bhishma Pitamaha to Arjun, and when Shri Krishna saw, when he envisioned that Arjuna is no more, he will be able to stay uh, in the battlefield, and he will die within few minutes if I will not take any action. At that time, Shri Krishna, he breaks his promise, takes up the wheel of that chariot, spins around in the same way as he was holding Sudarshana Chakra, and runs towards Bhishma Pitamaha in the same way as it has been described by Shukdev ji. In the same way he runs, just in the same way as the lion, he chases after the elephant. So when lion, he chases after elephant, the same analogy has been given. Shri Krishna, he's like a lion who is chasing after elephant, who is Bhishma Pitamaha. And at that time, Bhishma Pitamaha, he throws all his weapons away, and he smiles, he laughs, and claps his hands, and glorifies Lord Shri Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalya, the specific attribute possessed by the Lord, and that attribute is that he is very much compassionate for his devotees. That Bhakta Vatsalya is so much powerful in the personality of the Lord that other qualities possessed by the Lord, qualities like his very personality is the embodiment of truth, right? Satya Kama, Satya Sankalpa. These qualities, they also get subsided by the ruling quality, which is Bhakta Vatsalya, which is his causeless affection, which is his causeless compassion and his unbound compassion for his devotees. So this is the third example how the God, he does not hesitate even in the least to break his words, but to protect the words of his devotees. Therefore, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when Shri Krishna, he is emphasizing the point that my devotees never get destroyed. Kaunteya pratijani hi name bhaktah pranashyati. Mere bhakt ka kabhi bhi vinash nahi hota hai. My devotees never get destroyed. When the Lord is highlighting this point, at that point, he is not wanting to take this oath himself, because he knows that my oath will not hold any value. If I would be in the incarnation of Ramachandra, my oath would be having great value. Raghukula riti sada chali aayi, prana jaya par vachana na jai. But in this form of Krishna, my oath doesn't have any value. Therefore, he inspires Arjuna that you make promise on my behalf, because you are my devotee. I might break my promise, but I will never let your promise be broken. Therefore, since, O Arjuna, you are my devotee, you should make this oath that devotees of mine, Krishna's devotees, they never get perished. Therefore, Kaunteya pratijani hi name bhaktah pranashyati. O Kunti Putra, O son of Kunti, O Arjun, you loudly and boldly declare on my behalf that my devotees never get perished. मेरे भक्त का कभी विनाश नहीं होता है. ऐसे हे कुंती पुत्र, तुम अपने दोनों हाथ ऊंचा करके घोषणा कर दो. Make a loud proclamation. This is the reason. So the Lord, he upholds the words of his devotees even at the cost of breaking his promises. This is how much he loves his bhaktas, and these are the three incidences which have been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Bhagavan places greater importance on his bhaktas even than his own self. So we will consummate our discussion, today's discussion, at this point, and we will proceed onwards towards other ritualistic ceremonies.
बोलो राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय. रसराज श्री भागवत कथा महोत्सव की जय. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे